Hello ladies and gentlemen, Teveron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week we are going to be playing Bant, Blink, or Flicker, whichever you prefer to call it, which is a deck whose idea I found on the No Goblins Allowed forums. It was posted by Conspicuous Flower. I will link to that in the description below if you'd like to see where all of this originated at. This is going to be my take on the deck. I went trolling the forums this week since, fair warning, I am in the middle of a move and I am extremely exhausted right now. Not to mention I'm recording this way ahead of time, much farther from the actual posting of the video than I usually do, because I'm just not certain after today if I'll be able to record anymore, and I want to make sure and get this up. Also, if you are made to cringe by play mistakes or whatever, my mental state, as I said, is not very good right now. I'm very tired from packing and moving things, so you might not want to watch this video then. However, if you like to laugh at misfortune and my ineptitude, then by all means, join me in that. Anyway, I didn't have time this week to come up with an idea of my own and test out. I certainly tried. There just isn't enough time between everything that's going on to do that. So this is what we're going to do. Anyway, let's look at the deck list. We are running 3 Essence Flux. This allows you to exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield. If it's a spirit, put a +1/+1 counter on it. We are running a couple of spirits, so it has that synergy as well. What the deck's trying to do, though, is to keep our creatures alive by flickering them, exiling them, then bringing them back, but also abusing enter the battlefield triggers, such as with Elvish Visionary here. When it enters the battlefield, we draw a card. So that's kind of the theme of the deck, to just get value and to keep our creatures alive. However, we're also running Sylvan Advocate because it's great in the early game, it's great in the late game. It's just great, and it helps us to win the game, so thank you very much, Sylvan Advocate. We are running the 4 Elvish Visionary, as we saw there. We are also running 2 Smugglers Copter, which is the same deal as the Sylvan Advocate. It's just an all-around good card that helps us win the game, even though it doesn't completely synergize with what the rest of the deck is doing. We are running 2 Declaration in Stone, which is a very good removal in this deck, as it is quite aggressive. I don't know that I would classify it as an aggro deck. I guess it's more mid-rangey, as you will see as we go through the rest of the deck here, and also can play a tempo game. We're running 2 Eldrazi Displacer, which is another permanent flicker effect for us, though it does require colorless mana, and we've had to warp our mana base a little to accommodate that. We're running 2 Spell Queller, which serves the dual purpose of being an enters the battlefield trigger and a spirit, so it synergizes well with our Essence Fluxes. Also, Reflector Mages, which probably needs no introduction, been annoying opponents since its inception into the game. 1 Bounding Krasis, as the rest of our enters the battlefield effects are better than this. All I had room for was 1, however, it is good. 3 mana for a 3/3 flash that can tap or untap target creature when it enters the battlefield. Also running 3 Acrobatic Maneuvers, another flicker effect in the deck, and this one draws us a card. And the last of our flicker effects is Displace, which we're running 2 of, even though we could be running 4 because it doesn't have the upside of what Acrobatic Maneuvers has in drawing a card at the same cost. However, it can flicker up to 2 target creatures we control. We can also do it if we have 1 out and not the 2, because it does say up to, so that is a very versatile blink effect there. We're running Whirler Rogues. Their enters the battlefield triggers are very good, gives us 2 1/1 flying Thopters, and as additional value it can tap 2 untapped artifacts we control, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. We are running Angel of Invention, as it also makes artifacts when it enters play, as well as its other abilities being super relevant. Other creatures we control get +1/+1. It also has Flying, Vigilance, and Lifelink. We are running Archangel Avacyn. Her enters the battlefield trigger keeps our stuff alive. And her flip trigger takes care of the opposing board and dealing damage to our opponent. Plus, we can pull off tricks with Avacyn, where we do have multiple blink effects in the deck. If something dies and triggers Archangel Avacyn to flip into Avacyn the Purifier, we can go to our upkeep, flip to the Purifier, and the 3 damage goes on the stack. We can then blink Avacyn the Purifier, who comes back into play as Archangel Avacyn and gives our side of the board indestructible. It's pretty good. We are also running Verdurous Gearhulk, whose enter the battlefield trigger is to distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures we control. This serves for some incredible combat tricks, blinking Verdurous Gearhulk to get multiple instances of 4 +1/+1 counters distributed among our creatures. And last, but certainly not least, Cloudblazer, who is potentially the best card in the deck to flicker. For 5 mana, we have a 2/2 with flying, that when it enters the battlefield, we gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. Pretty good. The mana base is 2 plains, 3 islands, 2 forests, 1 wastes, 2 lumbering falls, 2 Canopy Vista, 2 Prairie Stream, 2 Hinterland Harbor, 2 Glacial Fortress, 2 Sunpetal Grove, 3 Aether Hub, as it also produces colorless mana for us to trigger our Eldrazi Displacer, and 2 Evolving Wilds for a little bit of fixing. That's the deck list. Let's play some games. Okay. I would prefer to have a little bit lower curve, but I don't think we can reasonably toss this back, so we'll keep this. We have our colors. We still do need a second blue and a second green, but hopefully we'll get there. Again, I'd like to reiterate, I make mistakes at the best of times when playing Magic Duels, and I do hope you guys will be forgiving today, as this is definitely not the best of times. My mental and physical state is exhausted from being in the middle of moving house. So even if I play horribly, maybe you'll get some entertainment from it. Of course, this deck is very good in what I've seen of it so far, so maybe it can just carry me throughout this. Let's hope so. Alright, Needle Spires from the opponent there. Hopefully Reflector Mage can stabilize us here. Well, we're going to hedge on showing the opponent that we've got blue. For now, we'll go ahead and play out the white. Then whatever they play this turn will get reflected, if they play anything. We would like to draw some more lands, please. This deck is a bit mana hungry. A lot of its creatures are higher on the curve, 4 and 5 mana. Plus it needs mana up to do all its little tricks. Looks like we're up against vehicles, which is very aggressive and may give us some troubles. We will be reflectoring this. Even though it will give our opponent another scry, it will hopefully delay them a little bit as well. Bounding Krasis is okay. We could try to put it out to block. That would make our Krasis die, however, and I'm not into that. Let's go ahead and reflect the Veteran Motorist and hope to draw a land next turn. At this point, I would be very happy if it was an island so I could deploy the Whirler Rogue. In fact, I think probably our best draws in the next 2 turns would be blue mana source followed by green mana source, both of which would come into play untapped if I had my preference. Here's Cultivator's Caravan. So that's the first of the opponent's vehicles hitting the board. And an Inventor's Apprentice. So this thing is probably going to be coming at us next turn. However, we do have Bounding Krasis to try to deal with that, as well as Essence Flux. We could bounce it. I think here we're just going to pass and try to Bounding Krasis the Cultivator's Caravan when it gets crewed. Alright, another Cultivator's Caravan. So now we definitely want to slow the opponent down, as both these guys are 5/5s, as well as a Toolcraft Exemplar. The opponent has gotten a very aggressive start, and I'm feeling not too swift about this how this game's going. And Veteran Motorist. So at least we're not having the Cultivator's Caravans come at us this turn. The question is, do we want to deploy this Bounding Krasis? If we top deck a blue source, we're definitely going to want to cast the Whirler Rogue. Yeah, I think we need to. We'll go ahead and cast this Krasis. And tap down the Veteran Motorist. Yes. Tap it, please. And unfortunately, we didn't draw a land. However, we did draw Displace, which can team up good with these. And as such, I'm going to swing. Well, that's fine. We're not losing our Reflector Mage, so we can still displace and get super value here. We will wait until the opponent attacks to do anything here. Well, Lathnu Hellion is something you don't usually see from these vehicle decks, so that's interesting, as well as Selfless Spirit. The opponent has a very sizable board right now. And crewing the Cultivator's Caravan with the Veteran Motorist instead of with the Summoning 6 Selfless Spirit, so that's a little strange. Alright, let's displace these guys. Confirm. And Krasis will tap down the Apprentice, and Reflector Mage will bounce the... I guess the Caravan. Do I want... Yes, I want to use this ability. Thank you very much. Is this guy first strike right now? Doesn't appear to be. No, it is first. Or maybe that's just talking about... Did they have 3 artifacts? They didn't. Okay, so if we block, we lose something. However, if we don't block, we take a lot of damage. We could double block here and kill this thing. However, if we don't draw a 4th land, we're going to lose this game anyway, so I think we do this. I expect them to probably kill the Reflector Mage instead of the Krasis here. They could also sacrifice their Selfless Spirit and just keep their Hellion alive. And they chose to kill the Krasis instead of the Reflector Mage. I like that. I much prefer to have the Reflector Mage on board. Well, there's a Smuggler's Copter. We definitely need to keep a blue open. And we need to keep trying to attack the opponent. As if we don't do damage to them, there's no way we can actually win this game, drawing the 4th land or no. Alright, let's play out this Smuggler's Copter. And pass. Again, we're relying on Essence Flux to try to stay alive here. Cultivator's Caravan coming back down. And a Smuggler's Copter for the opponent as well. And crewing up the Caravan. See what the opponent attacks with here. Would very much like it if they attacked with the Selfless Spirit, but they're not going to. Well, let's go ahead and blink this dude. And bounce this Caravan, as well as crewing our Copter. It needs to play defense right now, and I would rather lose it than lose the Reflector Mage at this point, as the Reflector Mage is what's keeping us alive. Then we'll go ahead and block. That will give us a loot as well, which may help us find a land. I certainly hope so. Well, that's not a land, but it is something that we can cast. So, as much as I hate to, I think Archangel Avacyn is who has to hit the bin here. And that time they did have first strike, because they had 3 artifacts. Acrobatic Maneuver, I mean, well, that is something. Let's go ahead and play Elvish Visionary and see what we draw. Declaration in Stone. Well, again, we need to keep... Well, I wonder if it's even worth it this time as they have this thing. No, we'll skip attacking this turn. And again, Cultivator's Caravan coming back down. And a Veteran Motorist. I think you guys, though, can see the power of this deck. Even stuck on mana as we are, we're doing a fairly good job of staying in this game, or at least staying alive. Alright. This time we want to do this before the opponent swings, to try to keep their Exemplar from getting first strike. So we'll bounce this, and we will bounce the Caravan. Then when this checks, they don't have 3 artifacts, so it doesn't get first strike. So the question is, do we sacrifice our Reflector Mage to kill this Exemplar? I don't think we do. As much as I would like to be able to draw more cards, I think the Elvish Visionary goes under the bus here. I don't want to go down to 11, especially with the kind of board position that our opponent has at this point. Ooh, we can't get a break, can we? However, we do have Declaration in Stone. This will keep us from having a blink effect, but I think we probably have to do this. So, cast on these guys. And not attack. We're probably going to have to throw the Reflector Mage under the bus this turn. Well, never mind. Sky Sovereign's going to eat it. Well, that was a good Reflector Mage. He kept us in the game for quite a while. Going to be taking 7 damage here. So we're probably dead next turn. At this point, even if we top deck a blue source, I think we're probably just dead. Alright, well, that was unfortunate. Never got past our 3rd mana. The deck is running enough mana, it's just one of those things in a card game. You have randomness, and sometimes it bites you in the ass. Which is not to say that I didn't make any mistakes, I'm sure I did. But hopefully the next game will go just a bit better. Alright, we can't keep 1 land. Well, I guess we keep this. Again, we're starting with 3 lands. Hopefully we draw some more and not get stuck like we did last game. We're going to lead off with... Aha, 4th land, good. We'll at least be able to play our Whirler Rogue. Lead off with Prairie Stream. And then play a basic and Smuggler's Copter into Eldrazi Displacer, I think. Take inventory, okay? Opponent leading off with 2 islands here. Spell Queller's a pretty good draw. Well, let's go ahead and play Plains. After we play our next basic, our Canopy Vista will come into play untapped. We are still missing a colorless source to activate our Eldrazi Displacer. Well, the opponent changing off take inventories there. And still missing their third land drop and choosing to leave the game because of it. We're going to continue. I don't feel super bad about our opponent being stuck on mana when we got stuck on mana last game, so. As I said, when you play a card game, you just have to accept the randomness of things like that. If you want to play a game that has no randomness inherent, I recommend chess, as that is completely skill. Yes, I would. Drew a Cloudblazer. So, what do we discard here? We've got 3 lands out. We need both of these to be able to play the Cloudblazer. And we want to deploy Whirler Rogue next turn. I think we just ditch Spell Queller here. Or maybe just the Displace. Yeah, we're going to discard the Displace. I want to keep my creatures, as even if we only get one enters the battlefield trigger from each of these, that should be fine. And we've got enough blink effects in our deck that we should draw more if the game goes long enough. And a third take inventory. That's a lot of card draw. I was going to say, surely they will hit their third land drop now. Alright, and discarding a land. Don't know what that actually says about the opponent's position, honestly, since it is now the AI. We'll play this Canopy Vista out, and we will play Whirler Rogue. We will have one of these Thopters crew our Copter, and crash for 6. I do. Alright, that would be a 6th land. And we need a second green, so we're going to discard the Glacial Fortress. We don't have any in our hand right now, but we do have double green costs in the deck. And the 4th take inventory, unless I miscounted. Nope, that is all 4. The opponent has drawn a ton of cards this game. Fiery Impulse, okay. Killing the Displacer. I think we want to hold up Spell Queller now to keep our stuff from dying if possible. Galvanic Bombardment, probably eating this rogue, yep. Discarding another land. Well, we got another blink effect. That's fine. We are going to play our Visionary. Have it jump in the Copter. Angel of Invention's a great draw. We'll go ahead and crew with the Visionary. If we can quell something on the opponent's next turn and then deploy Angel of Invention on our turn, we've probably got this game locked up. Yes, please. And at present, I don't think we need this land, so we will bin it. Alrighty. Galvanic Bombardment, I'm okay with that. Alright, well, we're going to play the Spell Queller anyway. And then we'll play our Aether Hub and Angel of Invention. Lightning Axe on the Angel. Well, I guess that makes the decision for us. We will definitely be making servos. And crewing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And unless the opponent has bounce, that is still the game. Hopefully, the next game... no. Neither I nor my opponent will have mana issues, and we can have an actual good game. Here's hoping. Okay, again, we can't keep one land hands. This, however, is a really good hand, especially if we draw some more mana. Turn 2 Sylvan Advocate is what I am in for. We need to draw for sure a blue source, because this Aether Hub is only going to be able to give us blue mana one time. Well, I mean, there's another one, so I guess we've got 2 blue mana now. Let's go ahead and play our Advocate. Sulphur Falls and Cathartic Reunion. So the opponent is most likely on burn / Sphinx's tutelage here, Fevered Visions and the like. Displace is fine. Going to play our Aether Hub. We'll most likely be flashing in Bounding Krasis at the end of the opponent's turn if we don't have to blink this Advocate to keep it from dying. Hopefully we will draw another green and another blue source here. We are lucky we do have Hinterland Harbor, so that is good. Well, we're going to be casting Bounding Krasis, even without something to tap down here, just to put pressure on the opponent. Galvanic Bombardment. So there was one in the yard. Yeah, must have discarded one to Cathartic Reunion there. Alright, well, guess we're going to use our energy and go ahead and play Whirler Rogue out as well. So the Aether Hubs have fixed our mana here, but now we are in need of more blue sources, which what we have in our hand only requires 1 blue, so that's good. Now we kind of want a land of any type to cast Cloudblazer. However, we would also like to hold up our blink effects, if possible. A third color followed by Radiant Flames would be horrible here. Looks like that's not happening, though. Even a 2 damage Radiant Flames would hurt quite badly, ridding us of our Whirler Rogue and Thopters. But at present, it looks like they are not playing the Grixis version of this deck, unless they've just not hit their black mana yet. Fiery Impulse on this guy, probably? No, on that guy. Okay. Verdurous Gearhulk. We still need a second green for that. But we're not going to lament that. We are just going to keep swinging. We have our blink effects to save our Whirler Rogue, as long as it's not a sweeper that's being cast. Take inventory, that's fine. And I could blink this guy at end of turn, but I don't want to do that and open us up to removal in response. I would rather save our blink effects to save it from removal. 4 damage a turn is a pretty good clock at present. Cathartic Reunion, now we may do it as our opponent is tapped out. Yep. Let's Essence Flux here. That will give us a 2-turn clock. And there is our 5th mana. Let's play Gearhulk. We're going to put 1 counter on Gearhulk. This is bad. I can't see what I'm clicking on. Well, 1 counter on Gearhulk, and we're going to try to put 3 on a Thopter. Continue. Looks like I clicked right. Okay, good. Couldn't get that thing to go away till I resolved the Gearhulk. The opponent thought that was game over. I'm not for sure, though it does seem pretty good for us. The reason we wanted to put one counter on Gearhulk is so it just doesn't straight up die to Collective Defiance or Exquisite Firecraft. There is the aforementioned Collective Defiance. At least this was a game where neither I nor my opponent were mana screwed. So that's something. We both got to cast our spells. I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, I'm not going to risk this. We only have a colored source one time from this hand. If the Visionary drew us into something, then that would be great, but we can't rely on that. This is better, yeah. So we've got Copter into Visionary or Spell Queller, just depending on what we see from our opponent here. And we do unfortunately have two colorless sources in hand, but at least we do have this. Evolving Wilds helps too, but we want to deploy our Copter, so let's play out our Aether Hub and play that. We can fetch next turn. Our opponent appears to be on black-green at the moment. Hissing Quagmire sitting over there. Alright, playing an Oath of Nissa. Wondering whether they're digging for a land. It looks like they are, so we're adding white and blue to the mix. Makes me think that we're probably up against Super Friends, especially now since we see red also. So all 5 colors, which generally indicates a Super Friends-ish type list. Well, we're going to fetch first here, and we're going to get a green. Let's play out Visionary. And a Cloudblazer, that's perfectly fine. We'll crew with the Visionary. And crash. Yes, please. Another Acrobatic Maneuver. Alright. We've got a total of 5 lands with what we've got in hand, so I'm going to ditch one of these maneuvers. Don't want to throw away a land and then never hit our 5th for Cloudblazer. Sylvan Advocate from the opponent, okay. And probably playing that Prairie stream we saw, yes. So we're in decent shape here. We're going to be holding up Spell Queller this turn. We'll play out our Wastes. This will make our Prairie stream come into play untap next turn, as Wastes is a basic land. Let's go ahead and crew with the Visionary again. And attack. Yes, please. Alright, now I feel okay in discarding a land, so we'll do that. We do want to hit 6 land, as our Sylvan Advocates do need 6 to turn on their +2/+2 ability. However, I don't think that is what we're shooting for right at this very moment. We also do need a second permanent source of white mana. That's okay. Might ought to have Spell Queller this Nahiri here. I was too busy jabbing to notice. Whirler Rogue, okay. At present, though, we're going to play Cloudblazer. And pass. Yeah, we definitely should have Spell Quellered that Nahiri. Well, at least all of the opponent's lands are coming into play tapped. Wonder which effect they are going to choose with Chandra to kill our Cloudblazer. Alrighty then. And loot with the Nahiri. And hit us for 2. Let's get blocky. This turn, I think we have to play our Whirler Rogue and give Elvish Visionary unblockable. Yeah, hopefully us not quelling Nahiri doesn't cost us the game here. Let's not tap that green mana there, please. There we go. Like that. And let's give Elvish Visionary unblockable. And kill Chandra. We will also play out Advocate. And hopefully not get planar outbursted or the like here. Something's getting anguished and making, probably this guy, yep. And we're going to get hit for 4. Indeed. We will not be blocking. Alright, Nissa coming down. This is indeed a Super Friends deck, as we thought it was. And at this point, we may actually just want to go at the opponent's face and try to get them dead. The question is, do we play out Angel of Invention, or do we hold up Spell Queller? I think we're going to play the Angel, and that is going to use an energy, as we only have one permanent white source right now, but so be it. We want servos. So now that I am able, do I kill Nissa or go at the opponent's face? I think now, despite what I said, that I am going to kill Nissa and then swing with Whirler Rogue at the opponent's face. Confirm. We need to give this guy unblockable. Or girl, rather. It is a girl. Okay. Alright, looting again with Nahiri. And Languish. Opponent probably should have swung with Advocate first. I couldn't have killed it, and they would have gotten in a free 4 points of damage. Alright, again, we are left in the position of, do we play Cloudblazer, hold up Spell Quellers, or play Displacer and hold up Spell Quellers, which we can't do because we don't have energy anymore. I think we play Displacer. That way we can keep this Advocate from attacking us. Yep, we'll do that. Alright, ultimating Nahiri, what are you getting? Tireless Tracker. Okay. Seems okay. Alright, and there is Soren, probably going to kill our Displacer. Yeah, we will blink this. And again, us not quelling that Nahiri has put us in a pretty bad position here. Taking 4, then this guy will bounce back to their hand and they'll have to recast it. Cloudblazer. As much as I would like to hold up Spell Queller, I think we need to draw some cards, so... Alright, Verdurous Gearhulk's pretty good if this Cloudblazer survives. Okay. 0 damage from the Soren, thankfully. And another Languish. Again, they should have attacked with this, though I guess I'm in no position to be saying what the opponent should have done when I didn't Spell Queller Nahiri, am I? Alright, we've got our second white source now, so that's good. So now we can hold up 2 Spell Quellers, or Bounding Krasis plus Spell Queller. I think that that's what we're going to do. Just pass. Opponent cracking that clue. Alright, more clues. And more counters on Sylvan, or not Sylvan Advocate, but Tireless Tracker. Let's see, are they going to combat? Okay. I am going to flash in Krasis here and tap down the Advocate. Even though it's less damage, it does have Vigilance. Alright, we will be taking this 4. And Soren's ticking up. Oath of Liliana. They probably will cast that. And we will Queller it for sure. This time. Okay, Advocate of our own. This will maybe leave us vulnerable, but I think we've got to get Soren off of the table. So, Gearhulk. And we need to put 3 counters here, and I guess 1 here. Kill Soren. And I suppose there's no reason to hold it back. They have used 2 Languishes. Could still have other sweepers, Planar Outburst, Tragic Arrogance, so on and so forth. But I think we've got to take that risk at this point. Alright. Coming with Hissing Quagmire. We probably have to block this time. Yup. Just the Quagmires. So, I think I'm going to trade with these guys. Trade with that one, and we'll keep our Gearhulk around. If they don't just kill it with a removal spell here. Okay, Displace is nice. Let's see. I think we can kill them here if they don't have anything. Let's try. Alright, Acrobatic Maneuver on the Gearhulk. And all 4 counters there. And Displace just on the Gearhulk. And all the counters there. If they have Blessed Alliance, we're in trouble. And it looks like they don't. So, despite our error, it looks like we got this. Alright. On to the next game, where hopefully I will make fewer play errors. Okay. This seems acceptable. We do need a permanent source of blue mana. Lead off with Sunpetal Grove. Alright, there's our blue mana. Thank you very much. And deploy Advocate. Next turn we've got Queller. And then we can use our energy off of Aether Hub to cast Whirler Rogue if we need to. Thing in the Ice. Okay. So it seems we're up against a controlling sort of deck. Let's see if they want to risk blocking our Advocate. We could have pump spells. Alright, they are going to gut check us. Let's play our Forest and Path. Holding up Spell Queller here. Hopefully we get to quell something. And telling time's as good as anything else, I suppose. Especially since it adds to our clock on the board. And the opponent was digging for mana. So that was a good choice there. Alright, Prairie Stream. Good draw. We will give our Advocate unblockable. And swing for 4. Let's try to get the opponent dead before they can find the rest of their mana, shall we? Yep, quelling that telling time is looking better and better. Another Visionary. Well, at this point, I don't think there's any use to give anything unblockable. We'll just go ahead and swing. We get as much damage from the Thopters themselves as from giving something unblockable. Alright, we'll cast our Visionaries. Acrobatic Maneuver, cool. And I want to use the Aether Hub. Leave the Prairie Stream to cast Essence Flux. Evolving Wilds, okay. So that will make our Advocate big next turn. Not going to blink our Rogue here. Want to use the Essence Flux to save something. Lumbering Falls is probably the better play in this situation than Evolving Wilds. Get that creature land online. And this time, the opponent leaves. We are going to give Sylvan Advocate unblockable. Four, five, six. Taking the opponent to 4. And holding up blink effects to save our creatures. Alright, well, this was a quick game. I will see you guys in the next one. The question is here, do we risk? I don't think we do. This is just too slow, and I can't depend on the Visionary. Yeah, I like this a lot better. We'll lead off with Prairie Stream into Sunpetal Grove. Hopefully we can draw an untapped land so that we can also drop Eldrazi Displacer on turn 3. Or we could just not cast the Copter and plan to play the Eldrazi Displacer as our first play of the game. Looks like we are up against aggro Suntail Hawk. No, I'm going to hedge for hopefully being able to cast something next turn. It will take a top deck of an untapped mana source or drawing of one of our 2-drops, Sylvan Advocate or Elvish Visionary. Although if the opponent would play out some more Suntail Hawks, that would also be great for us. We could just Declaration in Stone their board. Well, looky there. There's at least one more Suntail Hawk. And an Order of Champions. Alright, well, I don't feel bad about deck and stoning some Suntail Hawks if we can't play one of our creatures. Yeah, and that looks like what we are going to do. Bye-bye, Hawks. This is especially good if the opponent untaps and then plays out Always Watching. That lowers their clock significantly. Thalia, okay. Well, that is a little unfortunate. It's going to also slow us down by quite a bit here. And since our creatures come into play tapped, I think I probably just want to hold up Spell Queller at this point. Then we can play the Displacer the next turn, or if we draw a 5th mana, that's a basic, because Thalia makes our non-basics come into play tapped. Then we could play Cloudblazer, buffer our life and draw some cards. Alright, Knight of the White Orchid. Going to fetch up a Plains for the opponent here. And again, I probably should have Spell Quellered that, but I think that is a better target there. So we took a risk. This time it paid off. Taking 4. Better than taking 5. Archangel Avacyn, okay. Let's swing with the Copter, shall we? We need to find a 5th mana. A basic would be awesome. Yes, please. Well, that is not a basic. And I think we will discard one of those. And play our Displacer tapped because of Thalia. Yeah, Thalia is really bad for us. Well, the opponent's going to take some time to crack at least one of those clues. Looks like it for now. We have nothing here. We're just going to be taking 6, going to 8. And there's a Consul's Lieutenant. And an Anointer. Essence Flux. So, if we crew here and swing, we can block with the Displacer here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which would put us to 1. So if they have any pump of any kind, we would die. However, we really need to hit that 5th land, so I kind of think we have to do this. Yes, please. All right. I mean, that's the land, and I think we're probably going to need Avacyn to stay in this game. So we'll discard the Flux. And play out Sunpetal Grove. If they have an Always Watching here, I think we're just dead. Yeah, we would be. Even something like Make a Stand or any of the other pump all your creature spells would get us. Well, let's see if we can survive at 1. Check my math again. Yep. Yeah, we're dead. Yeah, I could have blinked this guy and took that Borrowed Grace, but then the Always Watching would have been lethal too. So yeah, Thalia, pretty hard to overcome with this deck. Okay, I am going to keep this. Yeah. Alright, I think this will be our last game of this episode, win or lose. We will determine whether we end the video on rank 40 or rank 38. Alright, we'll lead off with Lumbering Falls. I did play this deck a little bit before making this video. However, that playtesting plus this playtesting, if I were going to make one change to the deck, we are running 25 lands, but the mana issues we've had makes me think that the deck wants 26. So if I had to make one change, I think I would cut the Singleton Bounding Krasis for another land. This deck just has way too many 4 and 5 drops for 25 land, it feels like. Well, we'll play our island, and then play our Smuggler's Copter. Then next turn, if we don't need to Reflector Mage something, we'll play out the Vista. Tapped, that way the rest of our lands will come into play untapped. If we do need to reflect something, we'll play the Glacial Fortress, as we already have an island out there. Well, we can't reflect that, as it's not a creature on our turn. So, Sylvan Advocate it is. Well, play. Well, I guess I should go ahead and just swing with the Copter before I play a land. Maybe that was the game's way of telling me to get good. Alright, swing. Yes, please. So I think we ditched the Vista. Yeah. get our second basic into play. That way the rest of our battle lands will come into play untapped. Alright, Inventor's Fair. This feels like a Metalwork Colossus deck. Yeah, Glintnest Crane, I think, confirms that. See what they get. Sky Sovereign, okay. And I don't think we're going to Reflector that Glintnest Crane. We don't want them to be able to find more artifacts. We'll save this guy for a potential Metalwork Colossus in the future. Let's go ahead and crew up and swing. Yes, please. Alright, well, goodbye, planes. We'll play our Glacial Fortress and pass. Opponent gaining a life there from the Inventor's Fair, as they do have 3 artifacts in play. Right. Bye-bye, Sylvan Advocate. Fortunately, they don't have enough power to crew any of these vehicles. They all need crew 3. Well, now they do. Top, please. And we probably don't want to swing with Smuggler's Copter here, as that would get eaten by the Sky Sovereign. They can crew with these 2 creatures and activate it. But do we play Cloudblazer, which will get eaten by the Sky Sovereign's trigger, or hold up Avacyn? I think we want to hold up Avacyn for now. Alright, whenever they find their Metalwork Colossus, it is going to be free to cast. And there's their first land-based red source. They do have these Cultivator's Caravans that can produce any color of mana, though. And there is the Colossus. Probably going to give it haste with the battlements. Yup. At least he's not trample, so that's good. Alright, let's try not to take 16 damage here. And we're going to take it because they remembered their Alchemist Vial. Well, probably should have activated this Copter in response to the Indestructible trigger. But at least we can block. Maybe. Nope. Other Alchemist Vial. So I guess it doesn't matter. We're going to 4. So, this is not good. I kind of think we have to Reflector that Colossus there. And I don't really see us getting out of this. Okay. It's about all we can do at this point. This seems like a really bad matchup for this deck, honestly. Alright, searching for another artifact with the crane. Filigree Familiar, okay. And there's Foxy Brown. Luckily they can't recast that Colossus this turn, as we did Reflector it. Here comes Sky Sovereign. And Caravan. That's very bad. We have to block both, unfortunately. Alright, well, let's crew our Copter here. Would love to have gotten the Avacyn flip, but unfortunately she has to step in the way of one of these. Or we just die. Yes, please. I don't think any of these are going to get us out of this. Sure, let's throw away Reflector Mage. Well, this is the first time I've played this deck versus the Colossus deck, and I don't know if all the games go like this, but this matchup feels just miserable. And we're dead here. We'll just give the opponent the pleasure of swinging for the win. Hello, Colossus. I suspect you are getting haste again. Yerp. Then... just the Colossus? Oh, just everything. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're dead. We'll block the Colossus and be exactly dead. Well, that will do it for this episode, friends. Despite our mediocre results, I do think this is a pretty good deck. As I said, I think I would cut the Bounding Krasis and put in a 26th land to give the deck just that little bit more consistency. But other than that, I think it's a well-positioned deck, just not against Colossus, as evidenced here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like below. It really does help tremendously. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see other videos like this in the future, where I get my butt kicked just all over the place. And until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.